Good evening, everybody, and welcome to another edition of Inside the Pigskin. My name is Scott Morganroth, the Motor City Madmouth, laryngitis at all. That's why you have great teammates around you. So, with that said, we have a great episode lined up, and we're going to be talking a lot of different things from Amazon to the Denver Broncos. Yes, we have to have a New England Patriots thing on there and Baker Mayfield because we have a young lady that's wearing a Panthers jersey. So how do you ignore that subject with her wearing jersey there? And we'll talk a little bit about tonight's Chargers Chiefs game. With that said, let me welcome the crew. Steve Ballesteri, Mr. Patriot. Steve, God bless. I love having you on. And he is back, and him and I look like brothers because we got gray beards. You know, now one too. We got three gray beards and a professional fan. Not quite three chicks in a pod, but three gray beards and a professional fan, or six and salsa. But whatever it is, it is. So, Steve, welcome back, my brother from another mother.
Hey, it's a good week unless you're a Patriots fan. They looked awful, and much to the chagrin of the people up north, and much to the joy of the people in South Beach.
And my favorite running back, the man I passed the rock to, Melfar Jr. How you been this past week, my friend?
Been good, Jen. I was thinking about you while I was watching the Lions game. I was not going to show up if they ended up winning that. They ended up pulling that out. I wasn't going to show up tonight.
I was thinking of you while I was watching that. I was like, Mel's gonna get me.
They tried. They tried. I was pulling for him. I mean, it's not often that I'm pulling for him, but I was pulling for him.
Right.
Let me tell you, Jennifer, we appreciated the confidence in Detroit coming from a young lady like you. So, all right, Jennifer, welcome back. As always, like I said at the top of the show, I love this crew. We have a lot of different stuff going on. So, Jen, welcome back.
Thank you for having me again. I appreciate it, Scott. I love being a part of y'all's team. So thank you.
Well, we're happy to have you. With that said, okay, we'll go to topic number one, new era in the National Football League tonight. The Thursday Night Football on Amazon. Can you watch it? What type of adjustment will it be for the fans? All right, Jennifer, you can lead off.
Sure. I think the fans will enjoy it more. Or just enjoy it the same. It's better than being on the NFL direct TV stuff where they kind of rope you in. I think Amazon will be fine. It'll make Bezos more money. My question is, when Bezos buys a team, will he have to give that up? Because we all know, like, as soon as the NFL forces Dan Snyder, he's going to be the highest bidder on the Commanders, right? So, like, it's no secret. It'll give a different it might give a different viewership as well. Maybe some younger people, because it's on everything. And I don't know the percentage, but I assume it's a high percentage of people who have Amazon Prime. So probably more people have Amazon Prime than ESPN at this point in time. So
I don't know about that. My wife is handling that. So when it comes to that stuff, I leave it to her. So with that said, Steve Ballester, it seems like you have it, don't you?
I have Amazon Prime, but I watch, use it to watch shows that I like Vikings, and as you can tell by my haircut, movies and stuff like that. I don't really like football being on there. I know they have, good crew on there, but that's I don't agree with that. I think they're going in too many different directions, and they're always seem to be reaching in the fans' pocket, and it's like, can't you just put something out where you're not always? I mean, you got a bunch of gazillionaires making billions of dollars every year. Do you have to keep reaching in the fans' pocket? I don't like it.
What about you, Mel?
Well, Steve, this is a country of haves and have-nots, and the rich are going to continue to get rich off the poor. It's something different. Probably 10 years ago, you probably couldn't do this because I don't think we had the bandwidth in order to televise or to show a game like this on on the internet. But a lot of kids, this is how they watch TV. They don't watch regular television like we do over the air channels or cable for that matter. a lot of the young people, they stream everything.
Yeah.
And this is kind of how they watch TV. And then, like Steve was talking about, I mean, a lot of people have Amazon Prime, and it's not because of the movies that you have Amazon Prime. It's because of the free delivery that you have Amazon Prime with the products and that you purchase off of Amazon. I mean, I have boxes coming to my house all the time with things that I purchase because I find the prices are better. I can get it in a timely manner, and I don't have to go I don't have to go shopping. I mean, I buy clothes on there and everything, and the return policy is good. If I don't like it, I just go ahead and return it. So it makes it a lot easier for me because I don't like shopping. I hate shopping. I do my grocery shopping because I have to be able to pick out my fruits and vegetables. I don't want anybody else doing that. But as far as other things that I use in my life, I use Amazon for it. So it is going to be something different. When they first talked about it, I thought, I was like, man, and like Steve said, always hitting you in the pocket. But really, a lot of people, I don't know how many people have Amazon Prime. I'm sure they have the numbers and know what the numbers are to where it made sense for them to, number one, for Amazon to offer this to the NFL, and obviously number two, for the NFL to go ahead and agree to do this because, they was on a over-the-air channel, I think, Thursday Night Football was, just regular NBC. So, I mean, that was something that you could get if you just had rabbit ears. You could watch that. So it's going to be interesting to see what the numbers look like. That's what I want to see.
Yeah, the only thing I'll say about it is I understand that Amazon has pretty much put all the major retailers out of business. That's what they've done. And they've really taken a dent in the shopping market for sure.
Yeah.
I'm not so sure that I'm crazy about watching anything like that on streaming at all, sitting behind my computer. And I don't know how to program the big screen. That's why I have an intelligent, beautiful wife doing it because
mine's on the TV.
Yeah, I hate emails and I only respond back when I have to, and she handles all that. So this shows you what I really think.
You gotta get up with the times, man. You know what happened to the dinosaurs, right?
Hey, listen, I have to go with the times. I get it. I'm just more one of those major networks, and put them on Thursday night. Everything in prime time everybody should be able to see it. But I realized, like you said, Mel, okay, I have to adjust with the times. The best part about it is my wife is the one who's adjusting with the times, and I get to watch this stuff whenever she can find it, wherever she can find it. No, I think the only thing I'll be intrigued about, though, is when they lose the direct TV package, what's going to happen on Sunday to the sports bar industry, which is dependent upon it. That to me is the most intriguing thing because I do tend to go out to sports bars to watch games, and that'll be the thing where we really find out where technology.
Yeah, they charge a lot of money for that too.
NFL Network
get that for sports bars get that. They charge a good amount of money for that. So yeah, that's a good point.
NFL Network will take it over.
Yeah, well, maybe they will. I have no idea. I guess it's a TBD, Jen. But yeah, I'll be curious to see what Sundays are going to look like when DirecTV is no longer with, the sports bars. That's the thing I'm mostly interested in. If I miss a Thursday night game, to me, so be it. I get to hang out talking football with you guys, and you guys can multitask. So it don't matter to me. I'll just find other things to do. And that way I can kill my voice and just lose it or close to it because I have a very capable replacement, by the way, next to me. And even though I'm getting off topic a little bit, I do want to mention this in front of you guys as well. Candy Ebling did an outstanding job on Tuesday on Fire Up Wisconsin for 70 minutes with myself and Eric Katz running that show by herself. Okay, not me. I took a supporting role between Jennifer and Candy Ebling. Boy, the future with these young ladies is here, and I'm proud as heck to have both of them working out. So, if you haven't watched Fire Up Wisconsin earlier in the week, folks, with Candy Ebling, Eric Katz, and myself, I encourage you to do it. She has come of age and did an incredible job, and she'll be
surprised.
And she'll be filling in with me when my voice gets like this too much, and I'm more than happy to do it. So, but
we're not surprised by that.
No, I didn't think you. Well, Jennifer works with her anyways, and they'll be doing some projects together. If Jennifer wants to talk about it later at the end, she could do that. But yeah, I guess the intrigue is we'll see where Amazon Prime goes, and more importantly, though, I want to see what happens with the NFL Sunday ticket. Is what I want to do. And we have another guy here, a Detroit Lions fan, by the way. So here you go, Mel. His name is Kneecap Biting with Smoking. Jeremy. I actually met him on another network. And you know what? welcome to the show, Jeremy. I'm looking forward to doing a lot of good stuff with you. He's subscribed to my channel. I work with him in another group. And hopefully, at some point along the lines, Jeremy will work his way into the lineup and we'll be able to bring him on. So, Jeremy, thank you so much for joining us. And I'm looking forward to getting in touch with you. This guy here. Then we have Dom DeRube, who was on Monday night, too, another Lions guy on fire at Michigan. So, we have a lot of good things going on. So, anyways, to close out this topic, yeah, Amazon will be a work in progress for a lot of us to figure it out. And but me, the more curiosity will come next week. Direct.
Herbert just threw a 1-yard touchdown. 10
It's
is up.
10-0.
Oh, so what's the score there?
10-0
For
Yeah, and Jeremy just said that the Chargers
San
are
Diego.
taking out the KC
or
right
excuse me,
now.
LA.
Mm-hmm.
oh, really? No kidding. Hey, Jeremy, you're already fitting in real well. My goodness, welcome to the big show. You're definitely going to work your way into this rotation if you keep piling in like this, my friend. Thank you very much. He says Dom DeRubis is a regular on this podcast. Well, you know what, Jeremy? Let me tell you, Dom is a member of our show, so we're going to find a way to collaborate and get you guys in there as well. So that'll be good stuff. Love the synergy here. All right, well, I got a Panthers shirt on. Okay.
Hey, I got the second best Panther to ever wear the jersey on.
Who's that?
Steve Smith.
Okay.
The first one was Sam Mills.
I've always loved Sam Mills. I mean, I'm an old school guy, but Steve Smith isn't bad. So with that said, okay, we'll take this down to Panther territory. Baker Mayfield, Russell Wilson lost facing their former teams, Cleveland and Seattle. So Steve Dallasberry, give me your thoughts on that.
I picked both of them to win in my weekly picks that on the site that I write for. So yeah, I had even more egg on my face than the Patriots. So I thought both of them were going to pull the games out. Little disappointed. I really wanted to see Baker Mayfield win. I don't know. I mean, not that I'm a Panthers fan. No offense, Jen.
It's okay. I'm not a Patriots fan, Steve, but I'm a fan of yours.
Oh, well, thank you. Likewise.
Hey,
But,
by the way,
I've always liked Baker. I mean, I don't know if he's all that in a bag of chips. We'll see. You know, it seemed like they were always changing the offense, but I really wanted to see him beat his old team. And I was really surprised that the Broncos lost. I thought they were going to win that game easily.
Well, you know what? I'll tell you what, Jeremy's on a roll. Baker Chokefield. Oh, my goodness. That'll make him feel pretty good. And he said I did too. Panthers, Broncos, Titans, 49ers let me down. So
I picked all those teams to win.
Jeremy, it looks like to me, he's auditioning for an opportunity on the show. And if he is, he's doing a heck of a job with it. So, all right. I'll just.
He had all the teams I picked, so I like him already.
Oh, yeah, no, this guy's good. All right, Jeremy, keep it up, pal. You're on a roll. I'll just make my comments short and sweet. Okay. I actually predicted Seattle to beat Denver on another show is what I did. Would I have liked to have seen Russell Wilson win? Yes. Playing in Seattle, tough task. Didn't think it was going to happen. Baker Mayfield, I'm pulling for him to do well. In Carolina, I am, but let's face the reality. Revenge games could always get different. Jennifer, you're going to get the last word on this one. So, Mel, give me your interpretation on what the dynamics were when it came to Wilson and Mayfield. And before you do that, Jeremy, I did with the win with the Lions to cover. So there you go. This guy's already a hit with my eyes. So go ahead, Mel.
I thought the Broncos would win, to be honest with you. I thought Russell going back up to Seattle, obviously he was motivated. He was jacked up. That first pass that he threw over the guy's head pretty much. You could see he was excited about it. I thought that they would win that game, but it looks like defensively they had some problems, in the first half. And then offensively, they weren't quite clicking. And then the coach makes a bad decision on 4th and 5. I think that was the wrong decision. You paid Russell, you gave up all those players for him, and then you pay him $265 million. You don't pay him $265 million to have a kicker go out there and kick a 64-yard field goal at sea level. I mean, that just doesn't make any sense whatsoever.
Right.
Baker Mayfield, that doesn't surprise me. Cleveland's a pretty good ball club. Even with Jacoby Brissett there, they still have that two-headed monster and Chubb and the other running back. I can't think of his name right now. So I mean, they're going to be tough to deal with. And then defensively, what they're able to do with as far as getting after the passer on the defensive side of the ball. So that really didn't surprise me. I'm sure Baker Mayfield would have liked to have won that game, but their team is not that good. I mean, they're not at that level right now.
Also, Jeremy has a good question for everybody, and Jennifer, if you want to chime in, but give me your take first, and then I'm going to go to Jeremy's question. This is a really good one. Go ahead, Jen.
I actually have something to say about Jeremy's question too, but
Okay.
they both lost because opening games against former teams.
Okay.
No one knows their quarterback better, and Mel, you know this,
True.
than your defense and your former defense.
And your former head coach, right? He knows what your strengths are and your weaknesses are.
Yeah, Pete Carroll knew what Russell was going to do before Russell did it. Like, literally, he knew. Like, there's just no ifs, ands, or buts. That was the Nemwit call.
Yeah.
Like, I was trying to calm my buddy Jordan down. He was not a happy camper about that. He's a huge Broncos fan. You guys would love him. But that was just an idiotic call that they made to go for the field goal. Like, that was just ridiculous. As for the Carolina Panthers, at this point in time, and this has actually been sadly true throughout our history, if you ever see us projected to win a game, pick the opposing team. That's all I got to say to you. Now,
Okay,
I'm a Panthers fan, so in my pick'em league, every time I do pick the Panthers to win, we lose. So I always pick us to lose just to be on the safe side and protect my team a little bit. Also, no quarterback who's looking to revitalize their career is going to do so under the current head coach with the Carolina Panthers.
I was waiting for that.
We've had 3 home opening games, 3 different starting quarterbacks in each year. We have had a total of 8 different starting quarterbacks in 2.5 seasons. There is an issue. Just bottom line. There is an issue there. Last week, we gave up 217 rushing yards to the Browns. We didn't get the ball to Christian until the fourth quarter. Matt Rule, I IR'd him for a rolled ankle last year. A rolled ankle. It will take me, an out-of-shape, middle-aged chick, to a couple of days to overcome a rolled ankle. Someone like Christian McCaffrey, give him a couple hours. I mean, maybe a day. But for real, like, that was the other thing that did help my team out, and this is what really brought us back in. I mentioned Sam Mills a minute ago. He brought us our culture, keep pounding.
Mm-hmm.
Matt Rule got rid of keep pounding being said in the stadium 2.5 years ago. Not a good thing. Keep pounding became a mantra for the city of Charlotte, for the Metrolina area. It is just who we are.
Okay.
They brought it back on Sunday 3 times in the second half. Once in the third quarter, that's when we got a field goal. Twice in the fourth quarter. That's when we got the touchdown and another field goal. What does that tell you? Keep pounding people. Baker Mayfield, I have high hopes after Matt Rule is let go because at this point in time, that's just writing on the wall. Like, and I will say, I don't like blaming the officials, but there was 2 really bad calls. I don't know if y'all saw them or not, but back to Baker. Baker will do well when Matt is gone.
Okay. All right, let's go to Jeremy. I'm going to take him one question at a time because this guy's on a roll. And every one of the questions in the chat room is actually really good. So we'll take them one at a time. First of all, okay, well, I want to get to the fact that who else was surprised that Geno Smith looked like a valid QB starter? I'm going to take it around the horn, leading with Steve. And then I'm going to go in rapid fire with Jeremy because he has some really good questions. So we'll just start with this one, and then we'll go on to the next one. Then we'll continue on what we're doing as well. Because, hey, having Jeremy here is like having another co-host and doing it, coming up with some worthwhile topics. So, Steve, I'm going to lead it off with you, okay? Who was surprised that Geno Smith looked like a valid QB starter? Were you surprised at that?
I mean, he's shown flashes in the past. And, again, it's only one game. It's week 1. There's a lot of unknowns in week 1. So –
right.
I mean, I thought he played well, but before I call him a valid starting quarterback, you're going to have to see some more from him. I
Okay.
think.
Mel?
I thought Geno looked good. He was a second-round draft pick for a reason. He put up a lot of numbers at West Virginia. He had some unfortunate things happen to him when he was in the Jets when he was going to be the starter, and then got his jaw broken or whatever the case may have been, and some kind of little locker room skirmish, and things kind of just went down from there for him. So I'm glad he got an opportunity, and he looked good. If you don't ask Geno to do too much, they want to run the football. That's something they want to do, and they want the passing game to be a complement of it. And I think Geno did a great job. He made some great throws in the game. He made some great decisions. He took care of the football. That's what you want from your quarterback. And they ran the football well, so they did the things that they needed to do in order to win that game. And we're talking about the decision at the end of the game. It shouldn't even come down to that because if we remember, Seattle fumbled the ball twice inside the 1 yard line. And so going in there trying to score, they fumbled the ball. I mean, it's not Seattle. Denver fumbled the ball twice.
Right.
Going in there trying to punch it in. So it shouldn't even come down. It shouldn't have come down to that point where, the coach is having to make a decision whether or not we go for it on 4th and 5 or do we kick a 64-yard field goal.
Jennifer?
Geno looks good. He's like Steve and Melbo said, he's had flashes of brilliance in the past. It is a shame that he went to football purgatory that is the New York Jets to begin his career. And I've got to give my dad props for that quote. But we got to wait and see. I mean, Geno had flashes of brilliance last year when he was filling in for Russell. And keep in mind, who did he learn a lot of football from? Russell. So, we got to see. And plus, Geno was amped last night. Like, he's the starting quarterback for the first time in how many years?
Right.
So, and good for him. And Pete Carroll really worked his offense and his offensive line around Geno's abilities.
Right.
Which is kind of why Russell left to begin with, because Pete Carroll wasn't doing that for Russell anymore. So.
All right. I'm going to go ahead and comment on this next one because this one intrigues me even as much as the other ones. And Jeremy says that Hackett was an idiot to not go for it, which everybody knows, and not trusting their franchise quarterback. You know what, Jeremy? The only thing I'm going to say about this is, number one, Matt Prater isn't walking through that door, and neither is Tom Dempsey. So, and you have a guy with, and Mel and Steve know who Tom Dempsey is, a guy with the, but and then the Lions in New Orleans with Tulane Stadium with the 60-yard field goal that was subsequently broken by Matt Prater. So you guys have any brief comments on that? Because he's got a few more that I want to get out there.
Yeah, I mean, I said it. I mean, that's a no-brainer. 64 yards at sea level. I don't know exactly what the conditions were there. If the air was a little moist, but I imagine there was some humidity in the air. That's a tough ask for anybody.
Yeah.
You're even the analytics guys. You look at the analytics. The analytics say go for it on 4th and 5 versus a 64-yard field goal.
Right. And especially with the amount of time that was left on the clock. I mean, if you're talking 5 seconds, then yeah, you have to try it. But I mean, it was like almost a minute left in the game, right?
Well, it was less than that because Russell let the clock run down. They didn't call a timeout, which is another problem that they had in the last 2 minutes. And they didn't call a timeout after Russell threw that one completion, and they let a lot of time run off the clock before they called a timeout. I think they let about 35 seconds or so run off the clock before they called a timeout. So they did not have a whole lot of time left.
True. Jen?
I mean, it was just a numbskull move. Russell could have made it. Like, I got nothing else to say. We've all said it. So.
Okay. Well, good. Then with that said, we'll go to his next one. So it's C.J. Stroud of the Panthers in 2023. You can give me verbal or nonverbal language on this one. Jen?
I'm opposed to. First of all, we drafted Matt Carroll this past draft.
Right.
Okay. So now he's out for the season. But does anyone really want to wish a rookie quarterback to go play for Matt Rule? Just saying.
Well, we'll find out. We'll find out if that coaching change indeed takes place. Steve and Mel, anything you want to say about CJ?
Well, I mean,
CJ Stroud?
Yeah, CJ Stroud.
it's unfortunate that the best player always has to go to the worst team.
Right.
The best college player goes to the worst team. I don't know enough about Matt Rule to say whether or not that would be positive or a negative situation. Right now, the Panthers seem to be in a little bit of a disarray, and by maybe if you do draft a quarterback, they paid Matt Rule a lot of money to lure him away from Baylor, so I don't think he's going anywhere anytime soon. So he's going to be there. I don't know if the problem. Obviously, they have a problem. They need to find that guy at that position. They haven't had that guy at that position since they got rid of Cam. So you have to find that guy. I don't care what level you're at, whether it's Pee Wee level or the professional level. If you don't have that guy at that position, now I'm not saying he has to be, upper echelon. He has to be like a Brady or a Mahomes, but he has to be, Kirk Cousins worthy. Somebody that you can depend on to go out there and win you some football games. If you don't have somebody like that in that position, it's going to be very, very difficult for you. And they're searching to find that guy.
Right.
Steve.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's too early to judge Baker on one game so far, but do they believe he's going to be the guy? And if not, then you draft the best guy available. But again, I mean, are they going to rush him into things? I wouldn't. I actually didn't believe the Patriots should have started Mac Jones last year, but.
All right, so I'm going to go over a couple of things, and I want to get to the Denver.
Can I say one thing real fast?
Sure.
Okay. Last year, and I'm surprised he hasn't done it this year because he said he was going to. Oh, wait. He got all of his quarterbacks hurt in preseason because he doesn't know how to play call. But Matt Rule cannot pick a starting quarterback.
Okay.
The only reason Baker is the official starting quarterback is because Matt Rule does not trust his boy PJ. And PJ actually has been a solid quarterback in the past. Not great. Not flashes of brilliance. Solid.
Okay.
Matt Rule will go out and publicly denounce his quarterbacks. No player needs to deal with that. He refuses to look the players in the eye when they're passing each other in the hallways at Bank of America Stadium, even en route to the practice field.
Okay.
Just wrong. And I agree with you, Jeremy. I don't think Matt will actually, you're saying if he won't be here by draft, I don't think he'll be here past the first 5 games.
Okay. Let me go to some of other Jeremy's comments. I'm going to get to the Denver Broncos. Obviously, we all know that right now Seattle has lost their best quarterback, Jamal Adams, I think it is, for the rest of the year. 26 of 31, never done that before. Take the timeout at 57 seconds and make that the right call. And let's see where he's going to go. Since West Virginia, McManus had the leg, not the accuracy. So other interesting comments by Jeremy. We appreciate that. So with that said, let's go to the Denver Broncos, Russell Wilson's old team. The starting quarterbacks, I'm just going to list all the starting quarterbacks since Peyton Manning left. Okay, you're looking at Trevor Siemian, Paxton Lynch, Brock Osweiler, Case Keenum, Joe Flacco, Brandon Allen, Drew Lock, Jeff Driscoll, Philip Lindsay, Brett Rippon, Teddy Bridgewater, and now Russell Wilson. 12. And
are you really counting Philip Lindsay?
Well, he
got to start because of COVID, didn't he?
Well, whatever. Hey, listen, there's 12. I mean, my sources says 12. So if that's stability at quarterback position, tell me what it is. They need at least to make that stat look better that Russell Wilson needs to play 5 years. So, but that's okay. Steve, what are your thoughts about the 12 since Peyton Manning left? The curse of Peyton Manning.
Yeah, I mean they've reached for a couple of those guys. I mean, and they were just, I think, grasping at whoever they could find. I think it's far too early to write Russell's epitaph. Again, it's only week 1. He could come out next week and play fantastic, and then all of this will be forgotten. So, but Denver has really struggled since Manning retired, and again they were trying to stay, competitive and on top. And I think for several of those quarterbacks, they just reached for.
Yeah.
I was never a big fan of Osweiler. a couple of those other guys as well.
Yeah, I wasn't picking the Broncos to win this division, just so you know. I was mainly leaning more towards Kansas City. I think Kansas City is much better than most people think. The Raiders, I'm still not sure about. So I think the class of that division, and then I'll turn it over to Mel, okay, is I think the Chargers and the Chiefs. Obviously, the two teams are playing tonight. So the other two are a bunch of TBDs as far as I'm concerned. So with that said, why don't you feed off of what I just said, Mel, about the fact that the Broncos have had anything but stability at that position, talking 12 men.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's more of an indictment on the front office that they have not been able to find that guy for that position. And, we know who was, heading up the front office at that particular time. I mean, he was doing everything he possibly could to try to fill that position after Peyton Manning left. Unfortunately, it didn't work out. I mean, it had some guys that looked the part, looked good getting off the bus, but for whatever reason couldn't coach them up or whatever and get them to perform at the level that they needed them to perform at. You remember when Peyton's last year there was a little controversy there between him and Brock Osweiler because Peyton got dinged up at the end of the season. Brock Osweiler was playing very, very well. Yeah. Then Peyton came back later on, last game, the playoffs, whatever the case may be, and limped his way to a Super Bowl victory because that ball looked bad that he was throwing. I mean, you can see that Peyton Manning was just a shell of the Peyton Manning that we all grew up watching. But there was a little controversy there, and I thought that Brock Osweiler was going to do some good things. Obviously, Denver had a different idea. They ended up letting him go, and the Texans, I believe, paid him a whole bunch of money, and he went downhill from there. But I mean, I guess it wasn't for a lack of trying. Then they got Paxton Lynch. It wasn't for lack of trying. I mean, he tried, but at some point in time, you got to develop the guy. Remember, Russell Wilson wasn't a first-round draft pick. They got him in the third round. I always thought he was a good quarterback because I watched him when he was playing at Wisconsin. I thought this guy's a gamer. Even Drew Brees, when he was playing at Purdue, I always thought he was a gamer looking at him. San Diego got him when the Chargers were actually in San Diego. The Chargers got him in the second round. And, so I always thought he was a gamer too. He was just a little undersized, but he could throw that football around a lot. And same thing with Russell Wilson. He's a little undersized, but he could sure throw that football, and he was a winner. So at some point in time, you got to develop some guys, I think. Everybody's not going to get that generational talent. You're not going to get that. I mean, the generational talents only come around every so often in a generation. So you got to develop somebody to be that guy, build a good supporting cast, give them the necessary tools they needs around him, and go from there. I mean, even Aaron Rodgers. I mean, he's a generational talent, but he's not. He's won one Super Bowl, right?
Right.
And there's so if you're able to what Seattle did when they had Russell Wilson, they were able to have the Legion of Boom. They were able to spend all that money on the defensive side of the ball. They had a strong running game, complementary. They were very complementary. They were able to go to the Super Bowl. As soon as you pay the quarterback all that money, somewhere, you got to give somewhere. You're going to lose somewhere. Man, I think that's the problem that we're having in the NFL right now is quarterbacks eating up a lot of that salary cap, and you can't put the complementary pieces around him to support him, to give him the help that he needs to be able to go out there and compete and win championships, because quarterbacks don't do it by themselves.
Mel, you hit a bullseye on a lot of fronts, and I'm going to get involved here with this. Number one, I'm a firm believer. I know it's hard in this day and age for it to happen. Quarterbacks need to be sitting 1 or 2 years before they take a snap under center. I've always been that.
Us growing up, that was par for the course.
Exactly. That's my point. Okay. That's what part of the whole thing was. And the other bullseye you nailed on, Mel, is the fact that the quarterbacks are eating up so much salary cap that you have no supporting around. And that's the biggest downfall in today's NFL is you don't give these guys a chance to develop. I'm not going to I could do a whole show of how many quarterbacks could have developed, should have developed, didn't, and maybe down the line on Inside the Pigskin, because it is a topic-based show more so than a lot of other things that we do. We can devote an entire 30, 45 minutes as well to a specific topic and be able to fill a show easily and competently. So I think you're right on all counts. So, I want to go back to Jeremy. I mean, again, I'm going to continue. Anybody that participates in the chat room, go ahead. I mean, that's what we're here for. We're here to entertain you. But, before I go to Jeremy, Jennifer, we're talking about 12 quarterbacks. Give me your take, and then we're going back to Jeremy a little bit.
John Elway, if he could suit up, he would suit up. Like, let's just lay it on the table. That being said, Peyton Manning sealed the Super Bowl victory over my Panthers during Super Bowl media week when he announced his retirement. Just saying. I looked at my husband and I said, we just lost the Super Bowl.
Right.
And he goes, no, don't believe in conspiracy theories. I was like, all right. That being said, Denver needed to be building on what Peyton was teaching people. He probably was being a crappy teacher to Brock, to be honest with you, especially if there was that much tension between them. And that's not cool. Peyton should have probably been like, I can't play the game forever. I've already had stem cells put into my body. I've already been cut from the Colts. The Broncos picked me up, blah, blah, blah. He needed to be able to pass that torch, or he needed to be working with John Elway on who to draft and doing a little scouting for them. That being said, John Elway, he messed up, but it can't be forgotten how much turmoil has been in the front office, and especially on the ownership level until about 6 weeks ago when Walmart bought them. They had been fighting for years, and actively so. So that's impacting the team. That's impacting the coaching because the coaches have nowhere to go. No support, really.
Right.
John Elway has nowhere to really go. And straight up, when Elway was offered partial ownership in the Broncos, he needed to take it.
Right.
Like that was a huge financial misfortune on his part and just a big mistake. But I mean, the Broncos can build it back up if they want to, but it's what they want to do. They have to get that line around Russell. No quarterback, I don't care who you are, is going to be worth their salt if they don't have that supporting staff. And Steve, was it Tom, one of the more like middle kind of high paying quarterbacks, but he was never the highest paid quarterback in the league because he understood the love of the game and he understood the need for that supporting role.
Exactly.
I mean, he was up there for a minute because Peyton Manning, I remember said, he wanted $1 more than Tom Brady, at one particular time. He was up there at one particular time, but then there was a time where he was playing at a discount in New England, and he's playing at a discount also in Tampa Bay. I mean, he understands that the most important thing is winning. It's not about him getting paid. He's got plenty of money. I mean, he doesn't have to worry about money. The most important thing for him is about winning. These other guys are just egomaniacs. They just want to have the largest contract ever. Aaron Rodgers is all about Aaron Rodgers. He just wanted the biggest contract.
Yeah.
Russell Wilson, I mean, he doesn't have the biggest contract, but he's still getting paid a hefty amount of money. So it's gonna hurt the Broncos somewhere. The kid down there in Arizona. He just wanted a big contract.
Oh, yeah, he just got a fatty contract.
I don't even know why they paid that guy all that money, to be honest with you.
Either.
Now, Lamar Jackson, he deserves to have a big contract. I mean, he's a huge part of that offense as far as what they do running the football and throwing the football. He's a huge part of that offense. So, I mean, I don't blame him for not accepting anything less than a fully guaranteed contract. Now, Deshaun Watson, I don't know why they paid him all that money. I don't know what the owners must have been with Aaron down in South America eating shrooms when they offered him that contract, because I don't know what possessed them to give him that kind of money, given what he's done on the field and then his behavior off the field.
Yeah, well, let me just throw a little nugget out there. I haven't seen Arizona.
You'll appreciate this. I'm sorry, Scott. Mel, when the Panthers were coming out, the guys beside us started booing Baker because they were Browns fans. I looked at him and go, you understand you're literally booing the wrong quarterback, right?
Right. Right.
That's why I wanted to get a little nugget there. So let me just point this out here about Brock Osweiler. I don't think Arizona State's ever been considered quarterback U. I actually have that here in Miami, for that matter. So, but that said, I'm going back to my buddy Jeremy. Okay, if the Panthers, there he goes. If the Panthers are picking first, Matt Rule won't be there. Jennifer loves you already for saying that. Okay, and while this makes the Lions look competent, okay, well, a little bit of Lions here. Okay, good job.
I like the next one.
Yeah, no, me too. That's why John Elway, I tried to find his illegitimate love child. Okay.
Maybe
And
it's you, Jeremy. Maybe it's you.
yeah, I don't know, Jeremy. Let me go. This guy's on a roll here. Okay, Osweiler was Matt Flynn 2.0. Oh, God, that was classic. Oh, man, these comments are great. And Tom DeRubis joined. Look at this guy. We got the two big D's there, Dom. Don't worry, Dom. We're going to put you back to work Monday, but glad you joined your buddy Jeremy on this bad boy. That contract will be highly regrettable in the next couple of years as well. Now we got these two Lions guys. All right, let's keep it going. I'm having as much fun going with this stuff as I am. I know such a
Dak's contract is regrettable right now. I'm sure.
Yeah,
Dak's
right.
contract and Zeke's contract.
So now we got a conversation between kneecap biting and Dom. Folks, this is real entertainment already. Interesting fact, since Brady won his first Super Bowl, the winning Super Bowl quarterback has been either a quarterback on a rookie contract or Brady or less than market value until Matt Stafford. Boy, guys, I'm telling you, I have to ask you a question not related to this show in a sense. Are you enjoying the entertainment between Dom and kneecap biting? Holy moly. What turned into be a very interesting show. We've actually turned it into fire up in round two with these guys, and they're classic. Hey, listen, Dom, Jeremy, as far as I'm concerned, I'll go to a 6-man booth one of these days if I have to get you guys in there here instead of read it. I mean, God almighty, these guys are awesome. So I don't know. Any questions or comments about the two guys that we got in the chat room? These guys are incredible. Jennifer, Al, you know,
I actually knew that, Jeremy. That I found that I read that or someone told me in the last couple of days. I don't remember which it was, but yeah, I thought that was really interesting.
What do you think about these two guys, Steve? You having a ball reading this stuff?
I'm not looking at you guys. I'm reading the comments as they pop up.
Oh, that's okay. I want you to. That's what this is all about. Hey, we're just the afterthought. These guys.
I like the one where he said Osweiler was Matt Flynn 2.0.
That was pretty good. No, what are you getting any thing out of these comments between Jeremy B and Big Dom?
Yeah, I'm looking at Jeremy's comment regarding the quarterbacks. Matt Stafford's contract is actually pretty reasonable, the one that he signed with Detroit.
Right.
When you look at it in today's dollars, and we kind of think back and we remember Kirk Cousins, it was like, what was he wanting, 18 million back then? I mean, that wasn't too long ago, and Washington didn't want to give it to him. They didn't want to give him 18 million, so they kept franchise tagging him, or average contract value of 18 million. And now we're talking about average yearly values of 45 to 50 million. I mean, we're not talking that long ago when Kirk Cousins was fighting for his money. And the money is just tripled that quickly for that position. And that's a big problem. You look at your backup quarterbacks. That's why there's such a drop off that you have between your starter and your backup, because nobody wants to play for the veteran minimum. No decent quarterback really wants to play for the veteran minimum. I mean, even look at Jimmy Garoppolo. He's getting more than the veteran minimum to be a backup. Now, Gino was probably getting the veterans minimum to be a backup, but he hung in there because he believed in himself and wanted another opportunity to start. Cam's not going to come in and play for the veteran minimum. I mean, this guy is a prior NFL MVP. He's not going to settle for that. So, you got Dallas in the situation that they're in. They're paying Dak's contract actually looks like a bargain right now, to be honest with you. Yeah. He's signed it. Everybody's like, man, what are you doing? But now it really looks like a bargain. But now you got Cooper Rush. I'm sure he's on some kind of minimum contract, kid out of Central Michigan University. I had to look up to see who the hell Cooper Rush was. Where did this guy come from? I don't know who Cooper Rush is. Yeah. What did he do in life?
Yeah.
I don't know.
All right, let's go back to the chat room. There's Dom. Dear Matt Flynn. Okay, now we got an exchange from Jeremy. Hell yes. Okay, Dom, you're welcome. Sincerely, the Lions 2004.
That's why I chuckled when you were talking. Sorry, Mel. I saw that.
All right, no, okay. And now, Jeremy, I'll talk anytime. Don't worry. You're doing a good job already, Jeremy. Keep it up. And while you think of your next thing and your keyboard stays active, no, I guess it won't be. I'll go back to Jeremy. That I'll move my way to the Patriots. When Stafford signed his contract, he was the highest paid quarterback for 2 days. Then many gave the honor to Cousins. All right, well,
that's true.
Yeah, they did. So, all right, Matthew, you're the highest paid quarterback for all of 48 hours. I can do that math. So, with that said, before these guys, and I know they're active, so I'm going to try to slip a Patriots thing in, and then we'll keep going to these guys. New England Patriots lost 20-7 to the Miami Dolphins. How comment about the handshake, Steve, and then the Patriots offensive coordinator situation? I used to think that when Jim Schwartz had that handshake thing with Jim Harbaugh was bad, but I don't know. Mike McDaniel and Bill Belichick didn't look like they were sending Christmas cards. So I'm going to start off with you, Steve, okay, because you're closer to this thing. We talked about it last week on your Patriots podcast that I wasn't really sure about the lack of offensive coordinators, and boy, that became apparent on Sunday. So, Steve, this is the two-parter, my friend, okay? Number one, okay, talk about the handshake. And number two, let's talk about the offensive coordinator-less Patriots.
Right. I mean, first of all, the handshake, that's nothing new unless Belichick really knows a guy well and he's friends with him. That's about all you get. You know what I mean?
Right.
In regards to the offensive coordinator, the reason they didn't name Patricia that is he's still getting paid by the Lions. So if he got a job, his pay would be cut by Detroit. And, Kraft and Belichick would rather have Detroit pay him than the Patriots.
Okay.
But, I mean, they've done this a lot. They still don't have a defensive coordinator. Even when Brian Flores was there, he was never actually named the defense. We all knew he was. He was making all the calls. I mean, he would address the media, but he didn't have the title. Bill does that to one, if the guys are having issues, then all the deflection goes to him, and he's much more willing to do that. But in, Patricia's case, he's still being paid by Detroit. And the other thing, it's a benefit to Patricia. He doesn't have to do the media, responsibilities of a coordinator when they have those, media availability. So it gives him a little bit of a break from that. That being said, I didn't have an issue with the play calling per se.
Okay.
I had a big issue with a lot of their personnel groupings.
Okay.
Actually, they only ran 11 and 12 personnel the whole game. And the offensive line, which is supposed to fall under him and Billy Yates, was pretty horrible. It has been all summer, and it was horrible down in Miami. They still have tons of blown assignments. There was a bunch of them in the running game where, unblocked guys are shooting gaps and hitting the running backs at or behind the line of scrimmage. And, Miami's 2 sacks of Mac Jones. Both of those guys were one of them was a defensive lineman. How is an interior defensive lineman left unblocked? And he came straight in and buried Jones, hit him hard. And then now that was a really good play by Miami on the strip sack because they waited till Jones had everyone set. He called the protection, and then they slid the cornerback, I think his name Jones, and they slid him down on the outside. But again, your tackle can see that this guy's going to rush. Right. And they double teamed the guy inside and let the other guy go free, and it's like, but Patricia, I mean, he got some criticism, and some of it, was well-deserved because their biggest playmaker from last year, Kendrick Bourne, I mean, he had the most explosive plays on the offense. I love Jacoby Myers, but he has no yak. He's a good possession receiver, but, I mean, where he catches the ball, that's where he goes down. The same with kind of Devontae Parker. So when they were running 12 personnel, they have 2 tight ends, and they have Parker and, Jacoby Myers out there. You have no speed element whatsoever. And he's mad at Kendrick Bourne because back before the Panthers, Patriots joint practices, he missed a meeting or was late for it. And then he got in a fight during the joint practice with one of the Panthers players, and they've been sitting him for a month. It's time for Patricia to get off his high horse there and put this kid back in the lineup. They let him play one offensive snap on Sunday. He caught a 41-yard bomb from Mac Jones in the fourth quarter. And what did Patricia do? He yanked him out.
Okay, well, you've said a lot of loaded stuff, and now the chat room is blowing up again, and we have some spellings that are a little different than normal, but we got amused by them. So let's start at the top with where I left off. Cooper Rush is not very good. Yeah, pretty good on there. Secondly, okay, McCorkle Jones NFL ceiling is so low. That's coming from Doc.
Okay. I love you, Tom.
Yeah, he has to duck when he walks into the room. Man, I'm telling you, maybe I might have to relinquish my co-host duties or hosting duties for a little while. So let's go ahead. So McCorkle, let me repeat that because Jennifer definitely got going with that one. McCorkle Jones NFL ceiling is so low. He is.
Sorry.
Oh, it gets better than this, okay? I know how everybody else spells Matt Patricia, but I know Jeremy does it a whole lot different than that. Matt Patricia. And let me spell you guys listening here. That's Patrasha. So I can't even read it without laughing. Coach offense, I find that very offensive. Yeah, Jeremy, keep it up, man. I guess we're going to have to hashtag this Matt Patricia, and I'll leave that to Kane Hempling to do that. And we'll create one if we have to. So Detroit still gives them $1.5 million. Yeah, I guess the board's going to afford it. Dom DeRubis comes back. Attaboy, Dom. Just make sure you're ready for Monday, okay? And I saw pictures of Fatty Matty back with New England last season. He was pushing a mop bucket. Personally, I don't think he meets the qualification. And, of course, we have Will Vogel. Thank you very much.
Hey, Will.
Oh, this is unbelievable. I've had a lot of fun on these shows, but this might go down as probably the best one I've ever seen in terms of these guys. They're unbelievable. Or as Dick Vitale would say, they're awesome, baby. So, all right, back to Jeremy B. Okay, F, U. Okay, I'm not allowed to say it all, so I'll just let the letters of the alphabet help me. Matt Patricia, very good. Jeremy, send me your phone number. We will be talking soon enough. We're going to have a 60-minute crew with you guys down the road.
I like the second to last one there.
Oh, no, I'm getting there. Hang on. When you have a voice crackling, then obviously I have to get – I'm not leaving any of these things not mentioned here because we do have an audio audience too as well. Matt Patricia couldn't develop Polaroid film, let alone a offensive game plan. Oh, Candy, I hope you're ready for the hashtags. We got Polaroid film this time. We got Jeremy B, only team to not score TD this week. All right, you know what? I don't even know what to say about this anymore. So, Mel Farr, give my voice a break, and then my buddy Jennifer is going to take over as we get through this Patriots. There's a lot to digest. So, Mel, I'm handing it over to you, and then Jennifer and Mel, what you're going to do is you're going to pretend you're a broadcaster tonight, okay? Instead of an analyst. When you're done talking, you defer to Jennifer.
Gotcha. When we actually talked about this game last week, it wasn't the game I watched. I didn't watch the game. I was just only interested in the final outcome. I'll be real quick on this. So we talked about it. It doesn't surprise me that they struggled again. I mean, he's making a mockery of the offensive coordinator position or a coordinator position in general. You're going to bring a defensive guy over to the offensive, make him the offensive coordinator. You're doing a disservice to your quarterback, who your second-year quarterback. I mean, it's going to hinder his development, and hinder him. What the type of player that you expect him to be. I like Matt Jones. I thought he was good at Alabama. I thought he did very good last year, and now he's going to take a few steps backwards because Bill has an ego problem. Wouldn't bring in somebody to become the offensive coordinator, and instead brought over a defensive guy, two failed head coaches who were, the wide receiver. The one guy was a wide receiver coach who had the Jets job, I think it was. They brought him back, and they're making them co-offensive coordinators. I don't understand it. For the life of me, I don't understand it. So the Patriot fans, they're going to continue to call for Bill's head with that, with him being an egomaniac and not naming somebody, not bringing somebody in to further the development of of Mac Jones, and I hate that for the kid because he's going to take a beating. I understand he had to go to X-rays this week because he's getting a beating. I mean, there's a lot of things that go on offense other than just drawing up plays, drawing up routes. You got to have protection. You got to protect the guy, and he's got to know, where his hots are and all that, and he's got to know when to keep the back end or when to bring the tight end in tight to have max protection, all that kind of stuff. And I don't know, Matt Patricia, I know being a defensive coordinator, he should know that, but because he was the one that was causing those problems for opposing quarterbacks. But is he doing, is he helping Mac Jones in that part of it? And then, the other part is, knowing, what side of the field he should be looking at first based on the defenses. Again, Matt Patricia should know that, but is he teaching the kid that as well? Right. Jen, what do you think?
Mel, when I saw that highlight of Mac Jones getting laid out, I'm sorry, I don't like Mac Jones. I really don't. I thought he was a crappy pick. He struck me watching him play college ball. You know what? You're a great college ball player. You're not going to fare so well in the NFL. That was my hot take.
Smart. He's a smart kid.
Smart kid.
Yeah, very
doesn't
smart.
mean he can. I'm not saying he's not. I don't think he'll make it far in the NFL. And when I saw him get laid out like that, I thought, who did Mac just really irritate and provoke in that huddle? Because there was nobody to protect him. That was my first thought. I went to every single football movie I've ever watched when a similar play has happened. And I thought, okay. Okay. That was my thought when I watched that highlight.
It's Patricia and Yates have had trouble all summer long in training camp when they're not allowed to hit. They would have an unblock guys in practice, fire right into the backfield. And that to me is like guys are blowing assignments. They have miscommunication constantly. So, I mean, it's not a new development. This has been going on since the first day of training camp. And, the offensive coaches got to get their collective heads out of their behind.
Their ears.
I was going to say the wrong word there, Scott. I apologize.
Oh, I don't care. Hey, remember one thing, Steve. This is not FCC regulated, so
yeah.
I'm not.
But you know what I'm saying.
Those monsters. But
it's been a constant issue. They haven't ironed it out yet. And the funny thing was, on their very first drive of the game, I was watching right before the interception, and I know a lot of Patriots fans were upset because they said it should have been a pass interference call on Miami. I mean, how many times have we seen situations like that where it could go either way? They don't call it. It's just the way it is. But that first drive, they were driving right down the field with ease. They were picking up big chunks on every play. And I'm thinking to myself, have they been playing possum this whole time, all summer? Because we haven't seen this at all. And then, it was unfortunately an interception down there. And then after that, they went right back to where they were all summer long, except for the first drive of the third quarter, where I think they had things scripted. Because they went 92 yards on their first drive in the third quarter, scored their only touchdown. But other than that, they were terrible.
So I read something this past summer when we were doing our joint practices. And first of all, just so you know, I kind of blamed the fighting on the coaching staffs, respectively, on both sides. Because I've never known the Panthers to blow up like that. I've never known the Patriots to blow up like that. So that was some hogwash there. But what hit me, and I remember this, I was reading just, Panthers.com or something like that. And they said, and they quoted it from one of the beat writers for the Patriots, that the beat writers were saying that the Panthers looked more explosive and more well put together than the Patriots. And then my thought was, is Belichick doing with his coaching staff what Rule does with his starting quarterbacks? He doesn't know which ones to go with. Is Bill trying now to just be the head coach, OC and DC and special teams? I don't know.
All right, let me go back to the chat room real quickly, okay? Jeremy continues to be on a roll. And then I'm going to talk about some station identification stuff since I've been on a roll and forgot about it early. It doesn't matter. If you're watching, you can see it at the ticker anyways. And again, I think I'm going to do that now because it's about ready to surface in front of my four eyes. And then I'll go over to Jeremy. All right. Subscribe to the South Florida Tribune on our YouTube channel or visit www.southfloridatribune.com and follow us on Twitter at Tribune South. Okay, to advertise, call 954-304-4941. The audio portion of the show can be heard on Spreaker, iHeartRadio, Apple, Google, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcast. So I know for those of you that have been watching and have seen this information, if you're looking to find an easy way to subscribe to the South Florida Tribune YouTube channel, just go to youtube.com, look for South Florida, please hit subscribe. And I'll tell you, if you subscribe and I continue to see incredible comments like this, you never know. We're going to invite you on a show because after the exhibition that Jeremy and Dom have put on, everybody's fair game with this panel, especially your fan. So, all right, let's go back to the chat room. Okay. By the way, Mel, good handoff over to Jennifer. I appreciate it. Man, you have come a long way in the few years I've known you, Mr. Farr. Okay. So
learn from the best, right?
Oh, hey, if that's what you have to say, the words are appreciately kindful. Thank you very much. But Mr. Kneecap here smoking with Jeremy B. And Jeremy, I got some good advice for you. Send me a message in Messenger and send me your phone number. I don't care how many people we put on this show, as long as they're smart, they're candid and intelligent. And while you're at it, please get us a few subscribers along the way. But with that said, only team to score TD this week would be the Dallas Cowboys. We'll continue on with Mr. Kneecap here. Now, here's another one. This is really interesting, too, which is why I do not label Okudah a bust for Detroit. 10 games with Matt Patricia. Folks, I'm going to write this down. Patrasha for throwing him to the Wolves against elite wide receivers. That being said, the pick instead of Okudah should have been Derek Brown or Isaiah Simmons. Interesting observation there. Or Simon. Simon says, Patricia got it wrong with Okudah. Just kidding with you. After what happened in New York, I understand why Bill Belichick would chose, but Patricia, would you trust Joe Judge? Sounds good. Now, speaking of bad picks, wonder if the Browns hire Bob Quinn to know how not to draft. And you know what? Yes, Jeremy, you were nice enough to subscribe earlier. We appreciate it. And we are just getting started with you, Jeremy. Mark my word, okay? After the exhibition you put on tonight, and I hope you share it with the Empire Sports Network group, which I do a little bit of stuff with during the day. Make sure you go ahead and share the show to them. And if some of those guys are as smart as you are to subscribe to this channel, they may work their way onto this network with this incredible crew that I have. All right, so I got to ask you guys a question, okay? You want to talk about the Chargers and the Chiefs? You tell me.
I'd rather go watch it soon. No offense.
I don't care. Well, but you're going to get your parting shot.
I haven't been watching for the past several minutes. I know it was 10.
It's halftime. It's halftime, 10-7.
Here's what I want to do. Short segment here. Just give me a brief take on the Chargers and the Chiefs, and then we'll do parting shots. Okay. How about that? Does that work for you guys? So, Steve, give me some brief observations about the Chargers and the Chiefs. Are these two?
I know the Chiefs are at home tonight, and that's a really tough place for opposing teams to go in and win, especially on a national televised game. But like I told you, at the outset, I like the Chargers tonight. I just have a feeling they're going to take this one. So
okay.
My TV is kind of off to the side. I've been just catching glimpses, but the Chargers had a nice drive to start off where they went down and scored a touchdown, or a field goal, excuse me. I didn't see the touchdown drive. I just saw the pass from the 1 yard line. So no, I just think they're going to win tonight. I think both teams are really evenly matched. Should be a great game. I look forward to the second half.
It'll be a statement game. And my wife did figure out the Amazon Prime, so I guess I'll be watching it after all. Then again, I never doubted her in the first place. Mel, give me some quick observations on this game. Jennifer will as well. And then I'll give 2 cents, and then everybody gets their parting shots. Go ahead, Mel.
The Chargers are struggling. I mean, excuse me. The Chiefs are struggling a little bit offensively to put the ball in the end zone. But I think because of their experience and their hunger, I think they'll prevail in this game. It's going to be a tough game. San Diego. LA is a very good team. They're tough out. They got some guys over there on the defensive side of the ball that can get after the quarterback. So it's going to be tough. But I think in the end that the Chiefs will find a way to win this game.
Yeah. My question to you, Mel and Steve, real quick before we go to Jen. Do you think they're going to miss Tyreek Hill in games like this?
They're already missing. There's no question about it. They haven't been able to take the top off the defense. So they already miss him.
Okay, Jennifer, give me some quick thoughts on this, and we'll go to parting shots.
So Jeremy kind of said what I was thinking. Herbert is kind of Mahomes' kryptonite. Plus, Mahomes, my girl Carrie's going to get mad at me, but I don't care. Mahomes doesn't have the best footwork.
Okay.
He's got the arm, but he doesn't have the best footwork. And I also have to question if losing Britt Reed, because he's an idiot, hasn't made a major and I was being nice with that too. Was major impact. What?
Losing Britt Reed?
Losing Britt Reed, yeah. And everything that came out today and yesterday.
That happened 2 years ago, right? But I mean, Britt Reed.
But it happened right before the Super Bowl, literally.
2 years. Oh, you're talking about it had some kind of effect on that game.
Yeah, it had that effect. And then once you get in that spiral, then you go. And then this week alone, his sentencing came down.
Well, no, he pled guilty. He didn't get sentenced yet.
Oh, I thought he got sentenced.
No, and that family's not happy about the plea deal. He took a plea deal, so I think he's supposed to get up to like 4 years in jail or something like that. The family wanted him to get the max, which was I think 7 or 8 years, something like that, because he is a repeat offender. But it didn't bother Andy. It didn't bother Andy 2 years ago in the Super Bowl. So I mean, I don't know why it would bother.
Yeah, it did.
I don't know how anybody could take that guy seriously, to be honest with you. Britt Reed, I mean, what has he ever done to deserve to have the opportunity to be any type of coach, let alone
the same could be asked for a lot of people too.
What's that?
I said the same could be asked of a lot of head coaches right now in the league as well.
Yeah, I mean, he was riding his dad's coattail. I mean, let's be honest about it.
Definitely, he is.
Let's be frank.
But
he screwed up a hell of an opportunity.
Yeah, he absolutely did.
All right, let me go back to the chat room real quick. Herbert is 2 of those 3 lost. Holmes had Arrowhead, and of course the Chargers are the better defense. AC Jackson. Okay, Jan, any quick thoughts on that? Because I do want to get the parting shots.
So my husband was just reminding me of something. Kerry Collins, DWI, when he was with the Carolina Panthers, had a 5-year effect on us.
You said what now?
Kerry Collins, when he had his DWI here in Charlotte, had a 5-year effect on us and our plays. And I mean, literally, he could be replaced as a quarterback, right? So easier to replace that than a coach.
Okay, that's fair enough. All right, you know what? Let's go to parting shots. All right, Jennifer, lead off.
I don't really have any parting shots. I just have to ask JB Ellis if we're talking this week since we're playing the Giants this weekend. That's all I have to know.
Okay. All right, Mel, give me your parting shots.
Well, I had a parting shot, but I'm gonna pivot here a little bit. Appalachian State is going to make it very difficult for teams to want to play them if they continue to do what they're doing. I mean, they took North Carolina to the edge. I mean, right to the end. Scored 40 points in the fourth quarter against North Carolina, and then they take $1.5 million and a W back to Boone with them. So my question is there something in the water in Boone? If it's not something in the water, then UCLA needs to hire that head coach at Appalachian State and bring him out to the West Coast
Leave him with us.
Can be competitive.
Interesting.
He needs to stay with us. And people have always overlooked that. By the way, my entire family went to Appalachian. My dad played college ball there, so did my brother. My dad was a lot better. No offense, Chris.
People are gonna stop. People are gonna stop scheduling App State. They're gonna be like, "Hey, look here, man. We ain't gonna give you 1.5 million and take an L and embarrass us, and we're gonna be the topic of sports radio for the next 2-3 weeks." I mean, this is.
But hey, we got ESPN Game Day.
I mean, that's outstanding. I mean, and they beat a team, they had the number one recruiting class, and Nick Saban said paid all their players.
Yeah. All right.
I
well,
mean, people overlook up, but thank you for that. I'll tell my parents and my brother because I was a black sheep and went to a different school.
Yeah, I'm writing to AD to see if we can't get you guys, see if we can't get the coach over at UCLA, so we can be
no, sir.
So we can be relevant again. We can be relevant again.
All right, Steve. Oh, give me a parting shot.
Yeah, I just wanted to say, week one is always weird in the NFL. You have teams with a lot of new players. You have new coaches, new systems, new schemes up there. It's always hard to get a real feel on games going into week one. That being said, every year in week one, we have these supreme overreactions like, Monday. Now, it actually started on Friday because all of a sudden, and I think they're going to be a great team this year. I said they were probably going to win 14 or 15 games. The Buffalo Bills, they looked fantastic against the Rams. Is Buffalo going to look like that every week? I don't think so. But, everyone's like, okay, these guys are going undefeated. And the Rams are done. It's like, give me a break. They had a bad game. And you see this. I mean, Aaron Rodgers didn't have a good game. Are we thinking Aaron Rodgers is going to play like that every week? No. And it's just like we do this every year. And I was reading some of the comments all through all the different games. And I'm always amazed by it. It's week one. There's a lot of stuff that's going to happen between now and week 18 or whatever the heck it is now. But it never fails. Like the first week of the season, there's so many overreactions. I remember New England was supposed to win the Super Bowl in 2003. Week one, they lost 31-0 to Buffalo. And they ended up winning 14 games and did win the Super Bowl.
Right.
You can't go too much on week one.
So there's still hope for the Lions, Jan.
There is. Yeah. I still think they're going to finish with a.
They can turn this thing around. They can turn this ship around.
Well,
I believe in them.
I'm going to give my parting.
I don't know why I believe in them, but I do.
I'll give my parting shots after I give ourselves another promo. Subscribe to the South Florida Tribune on our YouTube channel or visit www.southfloridatribune.com and follow us on Twitter at Tribune South. To advertise, call 954-304-4941. The audio portion of the show can be heard, and believe me, you needed to hear it tonight with everything I was saying in the chat room on Spreaker, our radio, Apple, Google, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts. And let me tell you, the audio portion certainly got a boost here tonight with the guys we had, and I'm actually going to acknowledge them at the end. My parting shot isn't really so much a parting shot as much as it's a kudos. I want to give a kudos to Marshall University, App State, and Georgia Southern for pulling off upsets and making a lot of money doing it. Okay. I think that's great. I mean, and I only had to say a couple of things. Okay. Florida Atlantic University, I'll be there on Saturday night when they go ahead and take on UCF. You better hope that UCF isn't mad because it could be a long night, although I did predict FAU to win. And one other note, the Miami Hurricanes, some good old advice, my Canes. I've seen you win a couple big games out there. But the reality is Texas A&M is going to be mad. A couple more quick shout-outs in the chat room. Back to Jeremy B. We might as well get them all while we have a minute. Brett Reach and rot in jail. Well, I guarantee he'll be getting a different diet in jail. We'll continue on with Jeremy B. That might give UCLA a chance in the Big Ten in 2024. Okay, well, we're really having fun.
Our coach alone.
Home underdogs in week one last 3 years, 29-9-1. Trend continued this year, and I have the window of wins for the Lions 7-10. So there you go. Now you have it.
I got them at 7-10 or 6-11. That's what I said they're going to be this year. They're going to be somewhere close to 500. Not well. Obviously, you can't beat 500.
Yeah,
they're going to be right there.
Yeah, I like the 7-1 total. So you know what? While I have a chance to do it, I'll give Steve an opportunity to let everybody know how they get a hold of him.
Yeah, you can find me on Twitter at SteveB7SFG. I write for PatsFans.com. I do a couple of podcasts, which Scott was a guest on last week. One Patriot Place. I am also a national security writer for 1945.com.
All right, Mel.
Catch me on all the social media at Mel Farr Jr., Twitter, Facebook, LinkedIn, Instagram, and follow us and what we have going on down here in Georgia and Detroit at melfar.org.
Okay, Jennifer, you got a lot to talk about. This is your moment, the sun. Before you do that, though, I am very delighted to be a part of Basket Bros as well as a pundit.
Yes.
So I'm very thrilled to be a part of those. All right, Jennifer. Okay, we got Mr. Kneecap. Okay, once again, we're getting 7 to 10 wins is what he's looking at. So he's looking between 7 and 10. And don't worry, Jeremy, private message me. We're going to be talking, whatever voice I have. All right, Jen, take it away. I know you have a lot to talk about, and then I'll mention a couple closing thoughts.
So this is actually very exciting. But this Saturday, one of the shows I'm on with JB Ellis, Jacob Kressner, Denzel Snipes, Steve Schwanda, and my guy Jordan Long, we are going to be live from the minor league game, but Iowa Cubs game. So check us out Saturday night. This Saturday night, we're going live at 7:50 Eastern.
Playing the Savannah Bananas?
I'm sorry?
Are you playing the Savannah Bananas?
I have no clue yet. I haven't really done my research yet. I'm not going to lie. I'm not going to Iowa. I'll just be commenting on the site and in the peanut gallery. And then I do have with two of my girls, 3 Chicks in a Pod. We are Tuesday nights at 7:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And then for the next 2 weeks, we have Confidential at 11 o'clock with the same gentleman I just listed. On Wednesday nights, Pundit's Pundit with Scott, Jacob, and Denzel Snipes. Then on Thursday nights during the season, we have the NFL Carousel, Alex Fleming's NFL Carousel, and of course, Inside the Pigskin. Sunday nights, as Scott mentioned, we have Basket Bros, and that includes you, Scott, Will Vogel, Denzel Snipes, Dom Drubis, and Jacob Kressner. And during the season, and actually, I think we might postpone the start of this season until January, but the NBA Carousel. And that's Megan Price's NBA Carousel. She is the queen of hoops. And if you guys ever want to talk basketball, she is your girl. And so that's it for me. And then we also have another podcast that'll be launching soon, Chicks and Salsa, as well. So, and that's my 2 girls and Candy.
There you go. And all right, back to Jeremy. He's on a roll. Okay. He says he can give you a great rundown of why 7 to 10. You know, Jeremy, you get that opportunity, but you're not doing it in the chat room, okay? You're going to do it on air so all of us can see and watch you and hear you. And yes, Jeremy, being at Mel Farr Jr. is a staple on Inside the Pigskin, comes on Sports Exchange once in a while. So here he is, Mel Farr Jr., obviously the son of a legendary Detroit Lion, but Mel Farr Sr., but Mel Farr Jr. is legendary in my eyes because he's been with the last 3 or 4 years, and I'm proud of how he's developed with that as well. So, meanwhile, all I can tell you is I've given you all my contact information. No need to do it again, but I'll give you these. Basically, you can email us at southfloridatribune@gmail.com. Go to the website, www.southfloridatribune.com, Twitter @TribuneSouth. And once again, please subscribe to the South Florida Tribune YouTube channel. So I guess it's only appropriate that I do it this way tonight. So on behalf of Steve Ballesteri, Mel Farr Jr., Jennifer Lewis, the professional fan, and I'm going to incorporate a couple of other co-hosts there. Okay, Jeremy B., who's considered a silent co-host on the air, but definitely not in the chat room, and Dom DeRube. This is Scott Morgan, the Motor City Mad Mouth, thanking you for joining us on this edition of Inside the Pigskin. And Jeremy and Dom, appreciate it. Will Vogel, thanks for popping in as well. And Will, if you're still watching and listening, get ready. We're going to be talking this weekend. I have ideas for everybody. And I'll leave it on this one last note. I am so delighted and thrilled to be working with Sideline Sports and all the great classy people they have. too many to talk about. The ones that stand out are John Shearer, Eric Wilson, JB Ellis, Jennifer, of course. We have Will Vogel. Jacob Christner is a blast. I mean, and the list goes on and on. Denzel Snipes. I love all these guys. These are unbelievable. And Jeremy, just so you know, Mel, that he met your dad at a car dealership in Michigan. This guy is truly a Lions guy if I ever saw it. So how about that? You got a fan out there that met your dad. So Jennifer, am I missing any names here on sideline? If I am, go ahead and fill in the blanks before we call her a night. Anybody on this?
There's a couple, but you got the main ones: Eric, JB, John, Jake, Jacob, Megan, but you don't know Megan, Jordan, Will. Yeah, so
we'll get to know them. That's for sure. So meanwhile, great to be aligned with such class, and that's so. But meanwhile, we appreciate Jeremy for chiming in. And Jeremy, guess what about Friday? It's a light day for me, so I don't have to do this at night. So I only do something possibly in the morning. So meanwhile, thank you for joining us on this edition of Inside the Pigskin. And we hope that you enjoy the rest of Thursday Night Football. But we've had a lot of fun with me having the best time I've ever had in the chat room, interacting with all those folks that were kind enough to spend part of their Thursday evening with us. So once again, on behalf of the Dream Team, +2 or 3 in the chat room, my name is Scott Morgan off the Motor City Madmouth. Thank you for joining us on this edition of Inside the Pigskin, and we will see you next Thursday night. Good night, everybody, and thanks to my incredible Dream Team. God bless, and I'm going to be getting on Amazon in just a moment.
Good night.
Good night.